The popular narrative of Rosa Parks usually follows a specific script. On December 1st, 1955, a physically exhausted seamstress simply refused to give up her bus seat, and her fatigue changed history. But Parks herself rejected this version of events. She later clarified that she was not physically tired from a day of work. She was tired of giving in to injustice. Her refusal in Montgomery was a moment informed by a history of civil rights work that the standard history books often omit. When we reduce her legacy to a story about a tired worker, we lose sight of her agency. It hides the specific, strategic effort required to challenge a legal system. Rosa Parks grew up in the segregated South, where the Jim Crow system dictated every facet of life. These laws mandated separate schools, hospitals, and drinking fountains, enforcing a rigid racial hierarchy. This inequality was visible early on. As a child, Parks attended a one-room school for Black children that lacked the books, transportation, and proper facilities provided to white students. Every day she walked miles to reach that classroom, while watching school buses carry white children to their own schools. These early experiences established the bus as a primary site of daily friction, illustrating exactly how the law intended to limit her movement. Her entry into organized resistance began in 1932 when she married Raymond Parks, a barber and civil rights activist who encouraged her political education. In 1943, she joined the Montgomery chapter of the NAACP, eventually taking on the role of secretary. Working with local leader E.D. Nixon, she spent years documenting cases of racial violence, discrimination, and legal injustice across Alabama. By the time she sat down on that bus in 1955, Parks had over 12 years of experience as a high-level investigator and civil rights operative. In the mid-1950s, public transit in Montgomery was the most visible point of contact between Black citizens and the city's segregation laws. The rules were rigid. White passengers took the front, Black passengers took the back, and Black riders were forced to surrender their seats if the white section became full. On December 1st, a bus driver ordered Parks and 3 others to move to make room for a white passenger. The others stood up. Parks calmly remained seated and was subsequently arrested. Local civil rights leaders saw her arrest as the ideal opportunity to challenge the city's laws. Parks was a respected, disciplined figure, making her the perfect representative for a legal test case. This arrest galvanized the community, leading figures like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to organize a massive economic response. Her decision to stay seated provided the necessary legal grounds and moral focus to shift the community from frustration to a coordinated strike. Sustaining the boycott required a massive logistical effort. Thousands of people walked to work, organized complex carpool networks, and used Black-operated taxis to avoid the city buses entirely. The community maintained this strike for 381 days, despite arrests, physical threats, and significant personal sacrifice. The pressure finally broke the system in November 1956, when the Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. The boycott proved that collective economic pressure could successfully dismantle institutionalized law when triggered by a strategic act of defiance. The legal victory did not bring immediate peace for Parks. She and her husband both lost their jobs, faced financial ruin, and lived under constant threats of violence. In 1957, seeking safety and a new start, the family moved to Detroit, Michigan. Her activism continued in Detroit for decades. She worked for Congressman John Conyers, Jr., focusing on housing, economic justice, and voting rights for the city's residents. Parks passed away in 2005 at the age of 92. She became the first woman to lie in honor in the United States Capitol Rotunda, a tribute to her role in the nation's history. Her life demonstrates that effective resistance is built on more than a single moment of frustration. It is the result of a lifetime of deliberate, strategic work for justice.